Hello and welcome to day 3 of IPAW, where we are all about working smarter as an advisor. But first, if you weren't able to join us yesterday, you missed quite the day. Vicky, how about we recap on what we covered on day 2?
Yes, it was a great day with lots of new topics and the usual IPAW insight. We enjoyed an advisor panel discussion on business protection, which is well worth a watch as it provided lots of insights. We also heard about small group schemes, a particularly important topic given the number of small businesses that there are in the UK. And finally, well, how to describe it? I think you could call it the game show you never knew you needed. We watched the first and potentially last episode of a game show focused on objection handling. It was a close-fought battle, but in the end, the customer won. Spoiler alert.
We'd expect nothing less. You can catch up with yesterday's session. But wait, why would you want to do that right now when we have a packed show coming up for you? What you might want to do is share your insights or how, where and with who you are watching IPAW. We'd love to hear from you on LinkedIn and Instagram. Please tag us as well using IPAW 2025 so that we can see and respond to your posts. We can't wait. According to the 2025 Young Money Report, 80% of young people aged 18 to 30 trust financial information from social influencers, and 14% of them said they would take financial action based solely on what an influencer posted. 62% of respondents follow finfluencers, which, the report notes, signals that young people have a need for credible, reliable financial guidance and expect financial services companies and professionals to respond.
We'll be discussing social media and online presence later, but what better way to start today than with a conversation with some of our wonderful 7 advisors and ambassadors about the tools that they use.
So today we're focusing on the tools at your disposal to help you do your job as efficiently as possible and working as smart as possible. I'm joined by Cameron Erskine from 77 Wealth Management, Gregory Deere from Avado and Kevin McGeisha from Vantage Wealth Management. Together we're going to explore the tools, websites and techniques that can make your advice process more powerful and more productive. Welcome everyone, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So let's kick things off with a quick overview. We've grouped the tools that we're going to talk about today into 3 broad types. So cash flow modelling tools to begin with, quoting and recommendation platforms, and then engagement and risk insight tools. So we'll take each one in turn. We'll start with cash flow modelling. Is this something that you all use?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lots of agreement. Great. So perhaps, Kevin, I'll come to you first and you can explain what it is and how you use it in your advice process.
So this is a key part of my process. I try and do it with every client, no matter, even if they're just doing some income protection, for example, because I think it really helps them visualize and see the benefits of where they're at now and what we potentially could be doing. So yeah, absolutely use it every day.
Excellent. Cameron, I saw you nodding as well. Would you say that cash flow modelling helps convey the value of income protection?
Absolutely. I think when you're sitting across from a client, having a conversation with them, you can say whatever you want, but some people just don't learn that way. Being able to pull out a visual representation which is tailored to that person makes a huge difference. To be able to show them the trajectory they're heading on now, how that could change if they're unwell, or factoring any other changes or issues that might happen. It really helps bring the risk to life and helps people understand their trajectory and what they need to do to change their outcome.
It sounds like using cash flow modelling changes the type of conversation you're having with clients. Gregory, would you agree?
Certainly, yeah. It can be quite confronting using cash flow modelling, can't it, Kevin? When you show them those red bars that if they were unable to work, and how would they meet their expenditure from year to year? So you have to be very careful when you're making those conversations and with that cash flow representation, but it can instigate action, which is obviously what we want. So we want the best outcomes possible for clients. We have to use the tools that are available to us.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that we discussed cash flow modelling in one of the very early IPAWs, bonus points for anyone that was watching and saw that years ago. And I recall that we put the visual up on screen and it so starkly demonstrated what would happen if the income was lost. And it received quite a reaction at the time. So I can imagine if you're having a conversation with a client, that's really going to be quite helpful in getting that point across quite quickly. Right, so next up, let's talk about quoting and recommendation platforms. So to be clear, we're talking about things like the Exchange, Solution Builder, CI Expert, Protection Platform. Gregory, can I come to you to ask, what role do you think these play in an efficient protection advice process?
Well, they certainly make everything a lot easier because you can see all the different providers in one place, but it's really important to first understand the objectives and actually go from an advice first perspective. Actually, what do they need? It's only then that I really start to use these tools that then quote, and you can go in with a clear idea of what the client needs, and then you can start to look at the different providers and what might be the best provider for them. I think another one of those providers is actually, if you understand their medical situation before, you can build that into the tools that you use as well to start to get an understanding of what the loadings might be, where protection might be a bit higher cost than you might initially think. So yeah, they're certainly very, very useful, but always try and get the full picture first before starting to use them.
Yeah, so timing is key then, I guess. At the right time, they're really helpful, but you need to, as I know, I can almost hear Matt Chapman in my ear telling me to establish the need first and make sure that your client is on board with that and you brought them with you. Just for the benefit of those watching, am I right in thinking that most of these tools are free or included depending on what network you're with, but standalone costs might apply if you want to use them? So if those watching want to use them, they probably should check first. Is that fair to say?
Definitely. There could be some costs that are incurred, so it's definitely useful to always just have a look.
Yeah, and there's a lot of tools out there, so it's worth having a look at what's available. Finally, on our very quick analysis of ways that we can work smarter as an advisor, we have things like risk calculators, which several insurers have got versions of, and it's worth pointing out that you can find links to all of them on the IPTF website. So how do you guys use these with clients, Kevin?
I think I sort of combine it with the cash flow modelling as well to really paint the picture for the client. So maybe within my four meeting process, in the second meeting we'll go through cash flow modelling, but the third meeting where we're sort of looking at quotes and maybe I'm coming to a point where I'm going to present the recommendation, that's where I'd bring in the risk reality calculator just so I can really show the client this is the percentage chance of this actually happening and this is why you really need to do something about it. So I think they really just help me aid the journey, and it's about combining these tools together to get the best outcome for the client.
Gregory, is similar?
Yeah, often I think protection's about one thing, isn't it? It's low risk but high impact. So the cash flow really shows the impact, and then the risk reality calculator can show that although it's low risk, there still is a risk, don't you think?
Absolutely. Cameron, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of risk tools, to be honest with you, and I've got into a pretty good habit now of preparing a risk report for every client meeting, regardless of whether I plan to talk about protection or not, because I think you never know when those conversations are going to come up and what sort of situation the client's going to be in. So to have something like that takes 30 seconds to prepare and print off, to be able to put in front of a client at the opportune moment and say, you need this and this is why, I think is really, really powerful.
Yeah, I think because the reality is we know that most clients that we meet with have got this optimism bias, don't believe it's actually going to happen, and you've got to convince them, and that's a pretty easy way to do it, right? Okay, so as a final question, I wonder if I can come to each of you to ask what advice that you would give to someone who's not yet using these tools or maybe doesn't know where to start. So Cameron, can I come to you first?
Absolutely. I think the best advice I could give to someone is to start with one. I think there are so many tools out there. You find the one that looks like it will fit your process best, get to terms with it, get comfortable with it, and start to integrate that into your process. And from there, once you get comfortable with that, you can then start to build in other tools that can help.
Okay, and Gregory?
I think when you start using these tools, sometimes it can feel like it's adding time to the process that you've already got. But actually, if you integrate them correctly and you have a consistent process, over the long term, it's going to save you time as an advisor and also create better outcomes for clients as well, which is why we all do the job we do.
Absolutely. And Kevin, your top tip?
I think with clients, they often have a Superman syndrome, so they can't really see the benefit, no matter how much you have the conversation with them and you try and paint the picture. But with these tools, they really help the clients remember the moments they see the risk, because it really helps to visualize and help you with that storytelling. So I'd definitely suggest, if you're not using any of these tools, give them a go just to aid your advice process and help your clients actually see what you're trying to get across to them and the necessity of your advice, essentially.
Absolutely. Well, listen, thank you all for your thoughts today. This has been a real whistle-stop tour through all the tools, and we know there's a lot out there to help advisors in their advice conversations, and hopefully we've managed to inspire those watching to go and explore what's available to them to help make their lives a little bit easier. And for those of you watching, if you take one thing from this session, let it be this: you don't have to work harder to give better advice, but you can help yourself by using the right tools. And when it comes to income protection, making that message resonate can change lives. One tool we haven't discussed in this session is social media, and that's quite deliberate because we have a case study coming up about how 2 advisors have changed the way they work, increased their profile and changed their businesses for the better by harnessing the power of social media. Let's take a look. So, in line with our theme of the day, working smart as an advisor, we want to revisit the theme of social media. And whilst we're aware that there are a multitude of instructional videos and tutorials out there, sometimes it's easiest to relate to a story and follow the example of others. With that in mind, I am delighted to be joined today by Ash Borland from Ash Borland Consulting and 2 of our IPTF ambassadors who have worked with Ash, Tracy Boyd from Mortgage Hub Expert Limited and Nicola Huxley from Sphere Financial Services. So welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us today for this session as part of Income Protection Action Week. We look forward to hearing about how you work together and sharing some key takeaways with our audience. So Ash, just so the audience at home are clear, can you provide a quick summary of what you do and how you help advisors?
Yeah, of course. So I'm a business coach, predominantly for mortgage brokers, massively focused on insurance as well, work on sales, marketing, lead generation, customer retention, and kind of scaling a business. But obviously today we're going to talk mostly around social media, but that's pretty much what I do, help them simplify success.
Brilliant. Okay, so now we're clear on how you can help. Nicola, I'll come to you first, if that's okay. I wonder if I can ask you why you decided to work with Ash. What was it you felt that you needed to achieve, and what position were you in before?
So for me, it was literally, it's over 3 years ago, I think we started working together. Mine was a need to evolve. So I recognised I'm kind of been advising a while, kind of in a more old school sector where we hadn't used video and we weren't on social media, and that was absolutely fine. And kind of was sneakily watching other people do things I felt I should be able to do, and that I had better things to say that came with my experience. So I kind of did a lot of stalking on social media, along with a recommendation. I watched Ash for a very long time before I decided to get in touch and start working together to kind of bring that to fruition.
So a need to kind of hone your skills and
move forward. Because if you stay still, you're only going backwards, aren't you? So for me, it was about I had to move where everyone else was moving. Otherwise, you'd find yourself behind the curve. And I kind of could feel that was coming, and knew I needed someone to help me do that. And then found Ash.
Excellent. And likewise for you, Tracy, I know you already had a presence online and you were doing your best to embrace all the opportunities that social media affords. What convinced you to try working with Ash?
Started watching a lot of the content that Ash was putting out there, and I got what he was saying. I felt like we were on the same page. Everything he was saying was making sense. And like yourself, Nicola, I felt I needed to evolve really. And having been in the industry for a long time, you just get tired, you're doing the same old things. And I know you don't need to reinvent the wheel, but it was really understanding all this techie stuff. And as an older advisor, it's sort of harder to do. And I liked what you said.
Freshen up our skills.
Yeah. And like you said, keeping ahead of the curve, really.
Yeah. So, Ash, firstly, thank you for joining us with two of your stalkers
Yeah.
in the same room. So I know you've been working together for a while now. I'm interested to learn more about your process that you go through. So when an advisor or anyone comes to you for advice, where do you start? What's your first step?
Well, the first thing we're going to look at, like these two, for example, but the first thing when any advisor comes to work with me is that we have to look at, one, what are they currently doing, and two, where do they actually want to go with it? Because the mistake that people make with social media is that they look at what they see everyone else doing. And that's a huge mistake. So they see the views, they see the likes, they see the shares. And the first thing that I want to do with people is go, okay, what do you want? What are you trying to achieve? And most of the time that's going to be sales, because that's what we want. And then kind of work our way back from there. Because otherwise, if you go down the other route of following what the kind of general advice would be, which is going to be, trending sounds, trending audios, all the stuff that all of the people watching this either have heard about or will hear about if they go down the rabbit hole, you'll end up wasting a lot of time and a lot of money and getting no results, just spinning your wheels. So that's the first thing we would look at is like, what do they actually need, and then work it backwards.
I know you've been working together for 3 years or more, you said. And so, I was interested to know more about what the sort of things that you do differently as a result of working with Ash and being encouraged by him to embrace your dreams and think about the way you're doing things.
Yeah. We have so much more automation in our business. We have so many more processes. I play around with things in a different way. I check metrics on everything that I'm doing along the way. And it's all things that I knew I should be doing, and I play with things and tweak things and change things all the time and then never sit still. Because what Ash does is he brings his time to research things and experience things and bring them to you so that you can do the playing with it to work out how it fits in your business.
Yeah, I think it's an important point. I'm sure there's a lot of advisors watching actually who would like to do that, but they often don't invest in themselves. They're just going through the motions and doing the job, doing it well, but not investing in themselves and not thinking about what's possible. Would you agree? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. So Tracy, what about you then? What have you implemented that's had the most impact?
I got to a point in my business where I was looking at other advisors and I was looking at what they were earning. I'm part of a network, so I can see what other advisors are earning. And I'm thinking, I know what I'm earning. How the hell are they doing that? How on earth are they getting that income? And I'm flat out, absolutely flat out. And it's all to do with getting that process right.
So to both of you, can I ask you if there's anything that you used to do that's now consigned to the past? Maybe you'll have different answers given you've been working with Ash for a different amount of time.
I would say booking appointments in my own diary without using a diary system.
Oh, yeah.
Been absolutely life-changing.
Game changer.
Yeah. And it's funny because I've started working with another advisor who's introducing stuff to me this week, and she's like, I have to ring everyone up in the evening so I can make the appointments in my diary. And then I've said to her, like, oh, can you book people in for me? Here's my link. And she's put somebody in, and I can only imagine she's like, my goodness, that's going to change my evenings forever. But it just takes a layer out of everything, and then you have an automated system below it. So just that little thing that was manual that took a long time, taking that out.
7 o'clock. Oh, hold on. Let me just check.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then 2 days later, no, I can't do 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's just
and I
bonkers.
changed.
Yeah. It's bonkers.
It's brilliant.
So those conversations are a thing of the past now. So Ash, we've heard now how Tracy and Nicola have adapted what they're doing to make a difference. Are there common mistakes that you would say that advisors make with social media or their online presence? And what's the smarter thing to do?
Yeah, so to tie what they've got those both are saying, what there is this idea of like, if you think most of this has been talking about process, even though we come on to talk about social media, it's been process. And that's the mistake, is that everybody thinks that their social media is something separate, and it's completely not. Your social media is purely, the way that I describe it within the process these guys have gone through, is it's the step before your discovery call. So it's the pre-qualification of any client that you're working with. And so the mistake that many people make is they try to think of what's the best like viral thing, what's going to catch people's attention. Instead, what I like to say is your content, your social should just be whatever your process is, plus whoever your ideal client is. So whatever that niche is, whoever that market is, and we go down a rabbit hole with that, which we do not have time to do, but like that's all it is. And so that's why a lot of the time, and I noticed this, having done this now 7 years, for ages we would try and just do the socials first, but we need to fix the process. If we fix the process, we're able to like kind of plug holes in the leaky bucket, so to speak. We know what we're doing. We know the journey our clients are going to take. Then you can just talk about that. You talk about the stories that your clients have, you know, the situations they're having, and you talk about how your process works. That's what people don't do. Instead, they're too busy watching stuff online and going, I'll copy that. And instead, just talk about how your process is. If you fix the process, everything else will fall in place. About 3-ish years ago, I started getting obsessed with storytelling. People don't do storytelling, and Nicola very much pioneered that for my clients. Anyone who's worked with me since we started it has all been learning what she's done. And so I think that's probably, I'd love to hear your side on that, but that's probably one of the biggest mistakes people make, was they just talk, they don't tell the story. And that's been a huge journey that me and you have both gone on together with that. But I don't know your experience on that, but that's been, I think, a big mistake people make.
What I didn't know before I spoke to you was that it was my stories that I want to tell. And, you know, in client appointments, you tell stories all the time, or I certainly did, you know, to bring products to life. You tell a story and you create the feeling that story creates is what gets people to understand what insurance is, because then they can feel why they need it. And that's what kind of I always thought, like, oh, but people need to understand that. And I said, oh, you need to tell stories, and kind of help me structure the stories. I think what's really important though is you do you. Like my stories were all my stories, like, and then people who resonate with those will listen to them, understand them. But the biggest trick for social media for me is doing yourself, like being you, being authentic, and working out how you can stand in front of that camera and be yourself.
It's hard.
Authenticity is key as well. You can spot authentic content because it's engaging, because there's something about it that is naturally that person. You are a brilliant storyteller, and when you're telling a story, I know it's your story, whereas I could read the same story, it wouldn't have the same impact because it'd be your words. So I think that's a really important point. So I imagine, based on what advisors have told us, that there are a number of them watching who know that they could or should be doing something on social media, but honestly they just don't know where to start, and perhaps they're feeling a bit overwhelmed. So I'd like to come to each of you to ask for your best piece of advice, something that they could start doing, or something to stop worrying about, or even a useful tool that you'd recommend that they could use if they want to do something.
I'm interested to hear these guys first before I
Nicola, we'll start with you.
I would say you need to get a lack of vanity. I think particularly women on video get really preoccupied with how they look, how it's going to present, have they got time to do the hair every day? And you just have to learn to have a lack of vanity, because the people watching haven't done those things every day either, and that's how you become relatable to them. So drop your vanity outside the video.
Yeah, I again, I agree. It's great going second. My top tip, get over yourself, because we're so highly critical of ourselves. Some of my best videos have been really stumbly, really rubbish. I've made mistakes, and it's shown that I'm human. It's not perfect. Yes, it's scripted. I'll have auto cue sort of helping me, but it's me.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree. The blooper reel from IPAW always gets the most views. It just shows that we are human, and it's not scripted and perfect every time like it feels.
No, it's definitely not. It's definitely not.
Ash,
for me, honestly, like from a practical sense, I think what people should focus on, if it's the first thing you want to do, is try and win your day. So like, look at your day. If you're trying to move your business forward with that lead generation, within sales, whatever, look at your day and look at what you can do every day. Just one little thing. If you can spend the next half an hour on marketing, let's say it takes you half an hour on a Monday to research a video as an idea, half an hour on a Tuesday to a video, it doesn't matter. Just spend time every day, because if you win the day, you'll win the week. If you win the week, you win the month. I just literally do the same thing every day. And I think that's what all the people who are successful are the ones that just do that. They don't look at the longer term goal. As we said, what's the goal? I don't really care about the goal. For my goal, their goal, I don't, because it's more about the daily action. And if you win the daily action, it's so much easier. So much easier.
I think when you think about what you're going to film and what you're going to talk about, you never run out of things to talk about. What I've started doing is looking at emails coming in.
Yeah.
And if it's a topical conversation, I'll think, okay, I'm going to do a video about that. It's a great idea. Just do a 20, 30-second video. Or I've come out of a meeting with a client and gosh, I'm always getting people ask that question. It's a great one to share, and it's unique to you. It's not really a copycat thing at all.
Yeah.
And you can be authentic then, can't you?
Yeah. So I guess just spotting those opportunities that are all around us all the time and doing something about it rather than overthinking it and being worried about what you look like on video and not making time for it. Well, thank you all for such valuable advice that we know works well, because we've seen the success you've all enjoyed online. I know if people want to discover more, they can find you on LinkedIn. You'll be tagged in all the IPTF posts. So it remains a subject that we know advisors want to know more about and they want guidance on, and we hope that this has been really helpful to those that are watching. So sticking on the theme of social media, we have a couple of very useful sessions and tutorials coming up for you that you won't want to miss. Next up is Rosalia Lazara talking about video confidence. I don't think anyone feels completely comfortable filming themselves, certainly initially, but Ros is here to share some useful tips on getting started.
Does the thought of being on camera scare you, and you see everybody else doing videos on social media and you have no idea how on earth you can overcome that fear of the camera? I know you feel like everyone's doing it and therefore you need to jump on board as well, but how do you do it? I'm here to break down the exact step-by-step method for how you can go from scared to confident on camera. This is your camera confidence tutorial. Let's jump in. So let's talk about confidence and how to actually have it. Step one is to actually plan. Without planning, if you start recording, you're going to stumble. So we want to try and minimize that as much as possible and get you ready. So the first thing to plan is your kit. This is a very simple setup, which is probably what I use literally daily. Without what you see here today with the lights, my mic, the cameras, obviously we're recording long form content and educational tutorials which are going up on a website or being shared on social media. But when I'm doing my on the go videos for social media, this is it. Actually, sometimes I don't even need a tripod, I just use my phone. So decide what your setup is going to be. Step two when it comes to planning is the script. Now, I'm not saying you need to be overly robotic and scripted, but you do need to plan what you're going to say. So the most important thing when it comes to scripting is the hook. I'm going to practice now 3 different hooks that I would use in my videos, and I want you to then practice them in your own videos and apply what I say to whatever it is that you do. So here we go with hook number 1. Do you struggle with camera confidence and struggle with the time that it takes to actually record videos for your business? You see, that was a problem-based hook. A problem-based hook is excellent for attracting your ideal customer's attention. If you know what your ideal customer is struggling with, then by making a hook related to that problem, they understand that you get their problem and it gets their attention. Do you want to have an ever stream of leads coming into your business? That was a goal-based hook. That was me changing it from problem to goal. So I know that my mortgage and protection advisor clients or financial advisors want more leads in their business. So knowing that, I've made my hook based on what their goals are. Do you think that it takes hours to record content and that it's actually really expensive? I've got a £10 setup for you. Now that hook was a misconception hook. So I want you to practice a problem-based hook, a goal-based hook, and a misconception. So now my confidence has slightly increased because I know what I'm going to say. So step 2, when it comes to increasing your camera confidence, is the setup. Now, as I said, I use a mobile phone and sometimes a tripod if I'm going to be stationary. But if I'm walking about, I'm probably just going to use my hand and the phone. Now, in order for me to look confident, okay, doesn't mean I'm never scared and never wobbly. I have to look confident. Look how simple this is. Just a smile. Just a smile already lights up. I see people here like, hey, I just wanted to talk about, no. Big voice, roll your shoulders back, smile, QVC moment, right? I always say to my clients, start with a smile first, like this, like a cheesy grin, then start talking because you will try and retain your smile. If you start like this, you're already frowning, so start with a smile. The other bit to confidence is look how I'm standing and moving. If your energy is in your leg or in your hand, it will be noticeable on camera. So I stand and I use my energy positively and I move. I talk with my hands. I move my face. So try and use that nervous energy for the good. Try and make it happen. If you're not in a controlled environment like this, where we can control the lighting, the sound and everything, you're probably going to be out and about in public. So part of confidence comes with setup and knowing where you're going to be. If it's a windy day out there, don't try and record outside because it's going to be muffled, the noise. Try and find a location that you can comfortably speak. Some people do try and record in public, but I can tell by their voice that they're trying to be quiet. No good to me because I'm trying to hear you. So really choose a location that is actually going to work for you. But please try to avoid recording in front of a plain blank white wall. It really looks like you're in a cupboard and someone's really forcing you to do this video. Try and have texture and background, you know, plants or paintings. Try and have some texture in there so that there's something colourful to look at. Now, on the subject of quality video, what makes a good quality video? That's part of confidence as well, because if your video doesn't actually look engaging or creative or, you know, striking, then it's not going to look confident. You might be saying something fantastic, but if your camera lens is a bit dirty, if the lighting is a bit dull and your face is dark and the microphone is muffled, that doesn't make a good quality video. You could be saying some stellar stuff in your content, but it's actually not attracting attention or retaining my attention. So if I was recording myself at home, everyone has a window, right? That would be my first location, but I would be turning around and making sure that the light is on my face rather than behind me. Now in this room, because we can control the lighting in front of me, it works. I've got 2 spotlights here on my face. But if I was at home and I didn't have these spotlights, I would turn around and I would record myself with the light coming from the window. In terms of microphone, I am in a room that's quite quiet. It doesn't sound echoey, so I'm happy to just start rolling. So check out your room first. Make sure that the room that you're in hasn't got the chatter and the clanking from a cafe, but it also isn't a cupboard that sounds like, you know, you're echoing. And just in case the lighting is too dark and you're not getting it from a window, you can buy one of these and they can clip onto your phone or on a tripod and you can light that on your face. And that instantly brightens up everything. Delete, delete, oh goodness no, delete, 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 delete. Part of camera confidence is actually accepting that sometimes you're going to start out and it's not that good. So watch yourself back, watch your videos, listen to yourself. Does it sound good? No, delete it. You're not live. You're not live on TV. No one's seen it. Just delete and discard it and then go again. But on a serious note, guys, it's taken me over 10 years of practicing on stage, in front of the camera. Literally, I've done it all. I've had to go through a lot of cringy videos before people have started saying, oh, you're so confident, you look so natural.
well, you didn't see me 10 years ago. And actually in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, I might look back on these videos thinking, what were we doing? But never mind, it's done now. The good thing and bad thing with social media is that within 24 hours, your videos are pretty much history. So a new day, a fresh start. Whatever you posted yesterday pretty much doesn't get traction today on most platforms. Some platforms pick up your videos much later, but if it wasn't good and it wasn't getting engagement, it pretty much just fizzles out. So you can always reinvent yourself and start again, but the practice makes progress, not perfect. I don't believe in practice makes perfect, because what is actually perfect? There isn't. Some videos that are really candid and actually go against everything I just said do really well, and other videos are recorded in a studio and really slick and flop. So what is the secret? The reality is everybody's different, and the algorithm treats your videos in different ways, your experience, your audience, your engagement. So there is no secret sauce to how to record a video. The key for this tutorial is about helping you become more confident each and every day, because the more confident you are, the more likely you are to put yourself out there. And the more you put yourself out there, the more chances you've got of growing your brand awareness, your business, and attracting your ideal customers. Because visibility today is the currency. If you're not visible, if I can't see you, find you, or hear from you, how am I going to buy from you? And finally, when it comes to camera confidence, my favorite topic is mindset. What does that mean? It means embrace the bloopers. You're going to make mistakes. Don't try and sound perfect. I don't know if they'll make a blooper out of this, but I'm sure they will. And you will see that I too make mistakes behind the scenes. I just start again, compose myself, breathe, and go again. Also with mindset comes with being self-critical. There is a part in the blooper where I'm self-critical, because that still happens to this day. We're all our worst critics. But by the way, people don't see what you see. Like if you start obsessing over your eyebrow or your tooth or whatever it is that you've got a tick about, no one else can actually see what you see. It's only you. And the majority of people watch videos for about 5 to 15 seconds. So we're very fast and we consume so much content every day. I'm not going to remember that your eyebrow moves every time you speak. Like that's not what we're focusing on. So try not to obsess over every single detail of the video, because you need to be going faster with this stuff. You know, social media is very fast paced, so you don't want to be obsessing over one video and before you've posted it, the trends have changed anyway. So really try and speed up that fail faster attitude. That's the best mindset you can have. Just get it out there, get over yourself, get over it, because nobody cares as much as you are caring right now. So in conclusion, the only way this tutorial is going to work is if you actually put it into action. The only way you're going to increase your confidence is by practicing. I actually firmly believe that practice makes progress, not perfect. I will never be able to say I'm perfect on camera, because I'm learning something new every single day. Depending on who I'm working with on set or different clients, I learn new things. So I'm always getting better, just even 1% each day. So shake off those camera nerves, be friends with the camera, and put yourself out there, because if not you, then who?
Wow, so much good advice so far today. Great to hear the tools that our own 7 advisors and ambassadors are using are having a positive impact. We'd love to hear from other advisors what they use to make life easier. Tag IPTF online and use hashtag IPAW 2025 to share ideas, please. Of course, we couldn't talk about working more effectively without considering social media, and it was great to hear the case studies of Nicola and Tracy and how they've approached this and built a process to help them tackle this efficiently. And then, of course, what better inspiration to get started with some video content than some top tips from Rosalia, encouraging us all to get out of our comfort zone, but not to overthink it.
I agree, Jo. Some great tips there. But it's true to say that not everyone is happy filming themselves for social media, which is why we've included a tutorial about creating content for social media that isn't a video. Thanks to Chris Target from Social for Brokers, who created this tutorial for us. Let's have a look.
Hi, I'm Chris Target, founder of Social for Brokers. And over the last 5.5 years, I've helped over 500 mortgage brokers get seen on social media using creative marketing strategies, just like the ones I'm going to show you today. Now, we all understand how powerful video content can be, and many people think that the only way to win with video content on social media is to do content where you have to speak directly to the camera, which can be pretty daunting. But it's actually not the case. You can still create quality content that engages your audience, increases your reach, and gets you more business. And today, using our 2 modules, number 1, the B-roll content blueprint, and number 2, the zero effort reel system, you're going to learn how to create professional, engaging content without having to speak a word to camera. By the end of this session, you're going to walk away with 3 high quality reel or TikTok templates that you can use over and over again. So let's get straight into it. Number 1, B-roll content blueprint. This is the type of video that we're going to create here. As you can see, there's no talking to camera, no cringing at the sound of your own voice. It's just a video of me working in the background with some really valuable content over the top. The best part is these types of reels or TikTok videos are so easy to create. All we need to do is to record ourselves doing our day-to-day jobs. I'm going to talk you through step by step of how to create one of these posts just like this in Canva. But for this type of video, we need to record some B-roll footage. Now, what is B-roll footage? So B-roll footage can be anything that's not direct face-to-camera video. Some examples could be a video of you doing an appointment, a video of you typing on the keyboard, making a cup of tea, on the phone to someone. The benefit to this type of content is you don't really need to think about it. You just record yourself doing what you would do in a normal day. You don't need any extra time, and you can build up a bank of this type of video you can use in your content. So it's a time saver as well as a business growth opportunity. Let me show you how to record B-roll content on your phone. So we can either shoot this as a normal video or as a time-lapse video on your phone. So on your phone, you would set up over the shoulder or to your face or in another part of the room, and then you would then open your camera. When you've got your camera open, we're either going to choose video to shoot a normal video, or if you scroll across, if you're on an Apple iPhone, you'll be able to use time-lapse. If it's an Android phone, you'll be using hyperlapse. Time-lapse takes a shot every like 15-20 seconds and gives you, I'm going to show you some examples, the perfect time-lapse video. So let me show you some examples of what your B-roll content can look like. So this is one B-roll example of me shooting some social media content. This one here is me on a call to somebody. We've got one here of me on a Zoom to somebody, or you could even do a video of you getting your hair cut. Just think about content that you can use in the background of one of your social media videos. Once you've got your B-roll footage, you need to get it on your computer. If you use WhatsApp desktop, you could send it through there or just email it to yourself. Then once we've got that B-roll content on the computer, we're going to create the post in Canva, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So you're going to go to canva.com. So once we're on canva.com, we're going to click create on the left-hand side, this purple button, and then in here, you're going to type Instagram Reel. We're then going to click on this one. This is a video that you can then upload to the likes of Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok as well. Once you've got your design set up, on the left-hand side, you're going to make sure that you're clicked on design. And in here, you're simply going to type list. Then what you're going to do is have a scroll through the already made templates for you to find one that you like the style of. So I'm going to choose this one here, simply left click, and that's going to put the design into your canvas here. First thing we need to do is click on the background, either press delete on your keyboard, or you can right click and press delete background. What we're then going to do is upload the B-roll content that you've just uploaded to your computer. So you're going to click on uploads. You're going to press upload files, and then you're going to upload your B-roll content. Once you've uploaded it, it will appear in here, and all you're going to do is left click on it and it will pop it in your design for you. Then what we're going to do is to go to the top and navigate to the scissors, the trim option, and what we want to do is to go to the far right hand side hover over the purple box and then drag it inwards until it's around about 7 seconds long. Then you're going to press done and then right click on the video and press set video as background. Once you've got your video in the background, you're then going to go and fill all of this information out to give tips to your audience. So I'm going to put 5 top tips for first-time buyers. You're just going to resize these so they fit properly. And then you're going to change all the colours into your brand. So you can see now that I've branded this to my company, changed all the colours and put my top tips into here. If I then press this play button, I can see my faceless reel has now been created and animated for me in Canva. All I need to do now is go to the top right, press share, press download, make sure it's on MP4 video and then press download. That video is then saved to your computer that you can use to upload to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, wherever you want to upload it to. But the best thing is you've got that template to reuse again, where you could do 5 top tips for remortgages, 5 top tips for insurance and protection. That's your template you can use over and over again. These videos work so well for 3 reasons. Number 1, you're still showing your face to your audience. It helps you become recognisable without having to do face-to-camera video. Number 2, they're so easy to create in Canva. You've just seen how easy it is to do on screen there. And number 3, they can hold so much value to position yourself as the go-to mortgage and protection advisor in your area. Now, let's move on to the second half of this training, the zero effort reel system. I'm going to teach you how to turn your photos into videos. Again, we're going to get the benefits of video content without having to do a face-to-camera video. We're going to create 2 different types of reels. I say reels, but they can be used as TikTok videos as well. The first reel is going to be one that tells the story of your month. So, over the next few weeks, I want you to make sure you take lots of photos. Photos of the office, the desk, the staff, the office dog, working in the garden, the admin, anything to do with work. The second reel, or TikTok video, we're going to create is going to be a video that builds your audience, and we're going to do this by being a lot more local. For this one, you'll need to take some snaps of your local area when you're out and about, especially photos of popular local businesses. So this is how we create these 2 videos. What we need to do is to download an app called CapCut. Now, CapCut is a video editor that you can use on your phone. What we're going to do is this bottom menu here, we're going to press the one that says templates. And these are pre-made templates that we can just simply put our photos into, and it's going to create a video for us. Okay, so this menu here along the top, I'm just going to move it so you can see it moving. You're going to press the lifestyle one. So we're going to press on lifestyle, and then you're going to scroll through these templates, click on a few and take a little look at the ones that you like the look of. So this one here, probably not going to go for that one. What you want is one that says the amount of clips on the video. This one could be quite good. This is good because you can see it's jumping between different videos or different photos. So we've now got the template. On the bottom right hand corner, if you press the bookmark, and that's going to save it into your account. Then at the bottom right, you're going to press me, and you're going to press likes and favourites. Then at the top, press favourites, and you can see that this template has now been saved. If I click into this and press use template, and then I'm going to navigate to my folder with all of my saved photos in, and I'm going to choose photos of my business from the last month. So you're going to keep on clicking them until your screen goes black, and that signifies that you've chosen the right amount of photos like this. You'll see that I can't click anymore. I've got 17 items selected. If I press next, what this will then do is to sync all the videos to the music that's in the background. We've now got a video ready to go. All we need to do is to press export at the top right, and then press save to device. We have now created another reel without having to speak face to camera video. Okay, so we've got this one created. The next video that we want to create is one that promotes other local businesses but will help grow your reach. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our likes and favourites again. We're going to go into our favourites, and I'm going to choose another template that I have saved. And what I'm going to do at the bottom is press use template. I'm going to navigate to my folder where I've saved them all into. And for example, these are all the photos that I have taken of my local town. We've got those in place now. We're going to press next at the bottom right. And what you may have, if I just press pause and I scroll back to the first image, you may see there's a bit of text in the middle. I'm just going to tap that one and I'm going to press delete, because some of these templates have pre-populated text already, so make sure you delete any text. Once I've got this video, that's ready to go. So I'm going to press export at the top right. I'm going to press save to device. Now that is now ready for me to upload to social media, but I'm going to show you how you can increase the reach of this particular reel by growing your audience via other local businesses. So we're now going to go into Instagram, and then we're going to press the plus button at the bottom. If your plus button's not at the bottom, it might be top right or top left, depending on the version of Instagram that you have. I'm going to press reel at this section at the bottom here, so not post or story, we're going to go reel. We're going to tap the video that I've created and press next. And then on the text, I'm going to put love my town. You're lovely, put your town in there. Smithsville. You're going to press next. And then in the caption part here, you're going to write something about love being local. But the most important part of this post is you're going to tag in other local businesses by pressing the @ button, and you're then going to type in, so for example, this is a local cafe by me, the Courtyard Ashby. Okay, and then you could tag in other companies, so you could just put whatever the company name will be. Then press OK at the top right. Then you're going to press next. You're then going to press the share button. Now what happens when you upload that reel, all of the local businesses that you have tagged into the video will get a notification to say that you've uploaded some content and tagged them into it. They are very likely to share that to their accounts. What that does is it puts your business in front of their audience, and you're getting much bigger reach for free. So there you have it, 3 different ways you can create reels or TikToks without having to say one word on camera. If you want to learn more social media strategies, tips and tricks just like this, join our growing community called the Learning Lab. Message me the word lab on social media. I'll send you a link to all of these different courses that we run just like this. Just search for Social for Brokers on social media. Thanks for watching.
A great masterclass there, and one I am sure many of our audience will want to go back and rewatch. It's time for today's advisor montage now, and in keeping with today's theme, we're hearing from some of our advisors and ambassadors about the tools they use to work more effectively and how they use social media to support their business. So if you have yet to be convinced, enjoy the next few minutes.
The biggest change to my business came when I started looking at underwriting first, and that came from using Underwrite Me. It has fundamentally changed how I think about insurance.
A huge issue that we have when we're giving protection advice is we don't know what someone's medical history is going to mean to the premiums that they end up paying in the end, or whether they can even get cover in the first place. And Underwrite Me has been great because I can do medical questions with my client in an appointment, capture that information, and then actually start to work out what impact is that going to have on which provider should I go to, what's the likely cost and that sort of thing.
And I think the easiest way to kind of work out or explain how it's changed things is it's turned insurance into the same as a mortgage. You wouldn't do a mortgage application without getting pay slips. Yet advisors are selling protection without having underwriting. And if you underwrite first, you are better equipped to advise that client what they can have and how they can have it.
There's an advisor training academy with Aviva, which was fantastic. It was like daily it's like mini podcasts, if you like, mini webinars. And it talked about products, but it also talks about sales skills, which I thought was fantastic. There is, of course, the IPTF website, which has got a whole host of information. And as you know, whether you're an experienced advisor or a new protection advisor, actually, I really recommend that because it's got underwriting guides, you know, claims detail. It's all in one place. So that is a really, really good kind of one-stop shop, if you like.
So a really good online tool, which I still use regularly, is a risk reality calculator or risk reality report. I've used it for years, and it's especially useful for those clients that really don't understand their financial vulnerability.
The platform that I use is Solution Builder, and I find it really helpful to share my screen with every client and actually go through every element of the income protection. So we're talking through every single bit to make sure everything matches what they want. So the amount of cover, the term, they can see exactly how each individual small change makes the difference to the price and what they get.
You know, listening to the podcasts from IPTF, there's so many fantastic protection coaches on there that talk about sales skills, and it's really, there's always more than a few nuggets in each.
For me, social media changed everything. Social media became a tool for me to be able to tell stories. So I shared personal stories, I shared personal anecdotes, I share how insurance makes me feel as a mum, how it makes the families I protect feel. And once I built that feeling into and shared it with everyone, people started coming to me for insurance all the time. But more than that, it shared my ability to share those stories within my appointments.
So I use social media to raise awareness about income protection, usually by posting a mix of content. So I try to mix it up with engaging reels or sort of videos online.
The two channels that I use most prominent is LinkedIn, obviously for your business protection. It brings it to the forefront of mind. I like to talk about case studies. I like to talk about what I've been doing in my week, success stories, claims. I find that very, very beneficial, and just spreading awareness. So educational posts and not necessarily trying to pitch to anyone. It's just kind of, these are what you can potentially get in place for you and your business. On the Instagram front, I very much focus on personal protection. So families, self-employed, you know, self-employed is massive. So you've got lots of tradesmen out there.
The occasional post on Facebook, friends might, ask me as well. But LinkedIn is generally the big way I generate interest in it.
You've got to keep it mixed up. So, I will do the fluffier posts, which are a bit of fun now and then. That's how you build an audience. But I will also intersperse some key educational messages on there. What is relevant life cover? What is executive income protection? That sort of thing. Because the reality is a lot of people don't even know that these things exist, or they don't really understand what they are. So I think first you've got to build your audience and then educate them in an engaging and interesting way.
That just about brings us to the end of today's session, and it's been packed full of content. If you're watching, wondering how to action some of these ideas, we have some useful suggestions. We really hope that today has fired advisors' curiosity to find out if there are ways they could work more effectively and efficiently. For all advisors, it's best practice to review and evaluate their advice process to identify any pain points and to use the resources available to address these.
We saw in our conversation with Ash, Nicola and Tracy examples of two advisors who made a conscious decision to commit to self-improvement, to really want to do things the best way possible. And remember that whilst it is good to have an end goal in mind, these large goals are achieved by committing to small steps consistently. With that in mind, work out the next thing that you want to achieve and focus on that one thing until you progress. Be clear that the time you spend on social media should be contributing to your business growth and goals.
Great advice. And as you say, there's been quite a bit of that today. Please share your inspiration online and tag us using hashtag IPAW 2025. We're back tomorrow at the same time with an important look at reviewing and staying in touch with clients to ensure they get full value from their policies. Another great show coming your way. We'll see you then.